Isha had always lived a life that seemed perfect from the outside. She wore beautiful dresses, lived in a grand home, and was married to Imam, a man respected by everyone in their town. But deep inside, her heart felt heavy, restless, and quietly lonely. Every day, she went through the motions, smiling when she should smile, speaking when she should speak, praying when she should pray, but something inside her whispered that there was more to life than this. At night, when the world was silent, her thoughts became louder. She would lie awake in her luxurious bed, staring at the ceiling, feeling an emptiness she could not name. "Why do I feel so lost?" she whispered to herself one night, tears rolling silently down her cheeks. Her heart ached with questions she was afraid to speak aloud. One evening, after a particularly lonely day, Isha walked into the garden behind their house. The moon shone softly, and the air smelled of jasmine. She sat by the old fountain and watched the water ripple in the quiet night. Suddenly, a strange calm filled the air, as if the whole world had stopped breathing. Then, out of the shadows, a soft light appeared. It was not harsh or blinding, just a gentle glow, like a lantern held by a kind hand. Aisha's heart pounded. She wanted to turn and run, but her feet would not move. Then she heard it. A voice, soft yet powerful, speaking directly to her heart. "Isha, do not fear. I have always been with you, even when you did not know it. I love you, and I have a plan for your life. Follow me, and you will find peace that your heart has been searching for." Her breath caught in her throat. Who was speaking? She looked around but saw no one. Still, the warmth and love in the voice felt real, stronger than anything she had ever felt before. Tears streamed down her face as her heart trembled with a mix of fear and hope. For hours, she stayed by the fountain, listening. She felt a strange but comforting presence, as if invisible hands were holding her, comforting her, telling her that she was not alone. All the questions she had buried, about love, truth, and purpose, began to rise inside her, demanding answers. That night, Isha fell asleep under the stars, her heart different from when she had first walked into the garden. Something had changed. She did not know how or why, but she felt as though she had been touched by a power far greater than herself, a power that promised hope, safety, and a new life. When the morning came, Isha felt a quiet courage growing inside her. She knew her life would never be the same. The world outside might judge her, and her choices might bring challenges, but she could no longer ignore the voice that had spoken to her heart. Something deep inside told her that she was being called toward a light she had never seen before, a light that would guide her, protect her, and give her the peace she had always longed for. And so, the journey began. A journey of faith, courage, and transformation. A journey that would challenge everything she had known and led her to a truth that could save her soul. After that night by the fountain, Isha could not stop thinking about the voice she had heard. Every day, it seemed to echo in her heart, soft yet powerful. She tried to focus on her daily life, talking to her husband Imam, attending gatherings, and following the routines she had always known, but the emptiness inside her had grown stronger, and the gentle voice kept returning, calling her to something she did not yet fully understand. One afternoon, while walking through the crowded market, she felt a sudden chill. The sun was shining brightly, and the people around her were laughing and talking, but Isha felt as if she were walking in a quiet, invisible world. She paused near a small fountain in the square, much like the one in her garden, and closed her eyes. Suddenly, she heard it again, a whisper, almost like the one she had heard at night, saying, "Do not be afraid, Isha. I am with you always. I will guide you. Follow me, and you will see the truth for yourself." Her heart raced. This was not a dream. The voice was real. Tears filled her eyes as a warmth she had never known spread through her chest. She felt a strange courage forming inside her, stronger than the fear that had always held her back. That evening, she went home and could not eat or sleep. Instead, she picked up a small, hidden Bible she had found months ago in an old shop. She had never understood it before. Now, with a trembling hand, she opened it. The words seemed to glow on the page, as if they were meant for her alone. "For God so loved the world that he gave his only Son, that whoever believes in him shall not perish but have eternal life." Isha read the verse over and over. Her heart leapt. She remembered the warmth of the voice and the feeling of being held and safe. Tears poured down her face as she whispered, almost in disbelief. Could it be true? Could this Jesus really love me? Could he really save me? That night, she prayed. She had never prayed like this before, honestly, openly, pouring out her heart. She asked Jesus to show her the way, to give her peace, and to help her follow the path he had for her. For the first time in her life, she felt an unshakable peace. A light seemed to fill her room, soft and gentle, as if Jesus himself was standing beside her, holding her hand. The next days were not easy. Her husband noticed her change. Friends whispered, suspicious of her new thoughts. But Aisha's heart was different now. She could no longer ignore the voice calling her to truth. She began secretly reading the Bible every day, praying, and thinking about how different her life could be if she followed this love she had never known. One evening, as she walked quietly in the garden again, she felt the same glow from the first night. The voice spoke once more. Isha, do not fear the path you must take. I will guide you, and your faith will grow stronger than any fear. Trust me. Isha fell to her knees, her heart full of emotion. She knew that following this path would not be easy. There would be challenges, misunderstandings, and perhaps even danger. But for the first time, she knew she was not alone. Jesus had touched her life, saved her heart, and was now guiding her toward a new beginning. That was the moment Isha realized her journey had truly begun. A journey of courage, faith, and love, a journey that would change her life forever. Days passed since Isha had first felt the presence of Jesus guiding her heart. Each day, the light in her soul grew brighter, but the world outside seemed darker than ever. Imam, her husband, noticed the change in her. The warmth she once carried in her smiles was now mixed with quiet reflection, and she often excused herself to read her Bible or pray. One evening, as the family sat down for dinner, Imam looked at her sharply. Isha, he said, his voice stern, you've changed. What is this obsession with that book? Why do you spend hours alone? Aisha's heart pounded. She knew that speaking the truth could bring anger or rejection, but she could no longer lie to herself, or to him. Taking a deep breath, she whispered, I have found a new path, something I believe in Jesus. He has saved me, and he has shown me love and peace I've never known. Silence filled the room. Imam's face hardened, his eyes filled with confusion and hurt. For the first time, Isha felt the weight of the consequences she might face. But then, in her heart, she felt that gentle warmth again, the presence of Jesus reminding her to be strong, to trust him. The following days were tense. Friends and relatives began to notice her new devotion, and some whispered behind her back. Isha felt fear creeping in, but she remembered the light she had seen, the voice she had heard, and the peace in her heart. Whenever doubt came, she would quietly kneel, whisper a prayer, and feel strength return like a wave washing over her. One night, a serious test came. Isha received news that a close relative had threatened to stop speaking to her if she did not abandon her new faith. Her heart sank. Tears blurred her vision as she remembered the life she once lived, one of comfort, acceptance, and safety. But then, she remembered the first night by the fountain, the light, and the voice. Isha, do not fear. I will guide you. Trust me. Her courage returned. She realized that no matter what anyone said, her heart belonged to Jesus now. She could no longer live a life of fear or silence. That night, she prayed harder than ever, asking for courage to follow her faith, even if it meant standing alone. In the days that followed, she faced small acts of hostility, whispers, cold stares, and harsh words, but each time, she felt a quiet strength deep inside. She discovered that courage was not the absence of fear, but the choice to follow the light even when shadows surrounded her. One morning, as she walked in the garden where she had first encountered the light, she noticed the sun breaking through thick clouds. A feeling of warmth and reassurance filled her. She whispered, I know I am not alone. I know you are with me, Jesus. From that moment, Isha understood something profound. Faith is not always easy, but it is always worth it. And though the path ahead would be challenging, she knew she was no longer wandering in darkness, she was walking in the light of a love that could never fail. Her journey was no longer just a private whisper in the night. It was becoming a powerful story of courage, hope, and transformation, a story that would change not only her life but the hearts of those who would witness her strength and faith. Aisha's life had changed in ways she could never have imagined. Her heart was full of love and light, yet the world around her seemed determined to test her courage. Every day brought whispers, suspicious glances, and questions she could not easily answer. Even Imam, the man she had once trusted most, grew distant, his face clouded with worry and anger. One evening, as the sky darkened with thick, rolling clouds, Isha felt a heaviness in her heart. She knew a confrontation was coming. Imam had warned her again about her strange new beliefs. Her relatives had been spreading rumors, and the town itself seemed less welcoming. Fear clawed at her chest, but she remembered the light by the fountain, the soft voice in the night, and the warmth that had never left her since she first prayed. That night, a violent storm broke over the town. Lightning split the sky, thunder rattled the walls, and rain poured down in sheets. Isha was alone in the garden, staring at the wind-blown flowers, when a sudden, terrible thought struck her. What if I have made a mistake? What if my path leads to nothing but pain? Tears streamed down her face as she fell to her knees. Her hands clasped tightly together, trembling with fear and desperation. And then, just as suddenly as the storm had begun, a calmness washed over her. She felt a presence stronger than the wind, brighter than the lightning, and warmer than any human touch. Isha, a voice whispered, echoing in her heart, do not be afraid. I am with you. You are not alone. I will protect you. A flash of light surrounded her, soft but brilliant, filling the garden even though the storm raged around her. She felt a strength rising in her chest, a courage that was no longer her own but a gift from the presence she now fully recognized, Jesus. The next moments were miraculous. The storm seemed to split around her, leaving her small corner of the garden untouched. The rain fell on the edges, the wind roared in the trees, but she stood in perfect peace. For the first time, Isha understood that faith was more than words. It was a force stronger than fear, stronger than anger, stronger than the shadows that tried to surround her. By morning, the storm had passed. Isha felt transformed. Her courage had grown, her heart had been strengthened, and her faith had deepened in ways she could not fully explain. She knew that leaving her old life behind, standing firm in the truth she had found, was not easy, but it was the path she had been chosen to walk. She faced Imam that day with a quiet resolve. She could see the confusion in his eyes, the anger that still lingered, but she no longer feared it. She spoke gently but firmly, explaining her love for Jesus, the peace he had given her, and the new life she could not ignore. Even if the world rejected her, Isha knew she had been saved. She had been shown a love greater than any fear, stronger than any storm, and it would guide her through every shadow that came her way. The journey was far from over, but for the first time, Isha knew one undeniable truth. Nothing, not fear, not anger, not judgment, could ever take away the light that had entered her soul. The days after the storm were quiet but full of change. Isha walked through her home with a new sense of purpose. Every corner of the house, every familiar sound, reminded her of the life she had left behind, but her heart no longer clung to fear or doubt. She had been touched by something greater than herself, and that love could not be shaken. Imam noticed the change in her, and this time, it was different. She did not hide, she did not whisper, she spoke openly about the peace she had found in Jesus. I cannot go back, she said calmly one evening. He has saved me, he has shown me a life of love, hope, and courage. I am no longer afraid. Her words hung in the air like a quiet storm. Imam's face showed hurt, confusion, and even anger, but Aisha's heart was steady. She understood that love sometimes meant standing alone, that faith sometimes required courage even in the face of rejection. Word spread through the town about her change. Some laughed, some whispered, and others shunned her. But Isha no longer measured her life by their approval. Her measure was the love she had received, the love that had whispered to her in the night, had held her through storms, and had given her courage when she felt weakest. One morning, she went back to the garden where everything had begun. The fountain, the gentle light, the whispers of hope. She knelt, hands clasped, tears streaming, and spoke softly. Jesus, thank you for never leaving me, for guiding me through fear, for giving me courage. I trust you, and I will follow you all my life. As she prayed, a gentle breeze lifted her hair, the sun broke through the clouds, and a feeling of peace so deep it felt like a warm embrace filled her heart. She knew then that she was not just following a new faith, she had been reborn. Her soul, once restless and empty, was now full of life, love, and unwavering hope. Isha faced many challenges in the weeks and months that followed. Relationships changed, doors closed, and some people turned away. But she found a new family in her faith community, people who welcomed her, loved her, and walked with her on her journey. Every day, she grew stronger, more compassionate, and more courageous, knowing that her faith was her anchor, her guide, and her shield. The woman who had once wandered in fear and loneliness was now a beacon of hope. She shared her story quietly but powerfully, inspiring others to seek the light she had found. Isha knew that life was not always easy, but she also knew that with faith, love, and courage, any darkness could be overcome. And so, Isha's journey came full circle. From the quiet despair in her bedroom to the mysterious light in the garden, from fear and doubt to courage and unwavering faith, she had been transformed. Her story became a living testament that even in the darkest nights, a single whisper of love can light a path, that courage can grow from fear, and that true peace and salvation can be found in the arms of Jesus. Isha's life was no longer defined by what she had left behind, but by the light she now carried within her. And that light would never go out. Summary: Isha, the wife of a mom, lived a life of comfort but felt a deep emptiness in her heart. One night, a mysterious light and a gentle voice guided her toward Jesus, sparking a journey of faith, courage, and transformation. As she studied the Bible, prayed, and embraced her newfound belief, she faced fear, opposition from her husband, and judgment from her community. Despite these challenges, Isha's faith grew stronger, protecting her heart and filling her soul with peace and love. In the end, she overcame doubt and fear, fully embracing her life in Jesus and becoming a beacon of hope and courage for others. Moral lesson: true courage comes from following your heart and standing by your beliefs, even in the face of fear, opposition, and uncertainty. Faith, love, and trust in God can guide you through life's darkest moments, transform your heart, and give you peace that no worldly power can take away. The end.